Hi, everyone, and welcome to our monthly podcast. And happy 2026 to all of you. We have back once again the great Sandy Miarecki, who is the Secretary of State for the Republic, and she's joining us as always with honor for her monthly updates on what's going on in the Republic and all other things financial, geopolitical, per usual. So we always look forward to her insights. As always, if you're new to the podcast, please do like, subscribe, and share. Helps the channel grow and others to gain in the knowledge you're currently being afforded. As we always do, a little bit of a brief bio. Sandy is a retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel test pilot, one of the best. And again, as I said, she is the acting Secretary of State for the entire Republic of the U.S. And she always has great wisdom and knowledge. So we're excited to have her on board. And she is back once again. How are you doing, my dear, today, Sandy?
I'm doing great.
Good. Well, we appreciate your service. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, so as I always do, turn it over to you for the latest updates from the end of 2025, 26, and what you see on the horizon.
Yep. And for your new viewers, I always do a short summary of what it is the Republic. So our founding fathers gave us a republic when we originally got our Constitution, and we lost it in the 1860 to 71 timeframe. It became a corporation. Now, there was always a little piece of a corporate thing in the background that like did the invoicing, and like HR, would be. It's like this little corporate entity would do the contracting. But then it took over and it actually pushed the Republic out and abandoned it, definitely by 1871. So a group of retired generals, some still active duty during the JFK timeframe, created what they called the Army of Virginia. We call them today the White Hats. And they were trying to come up with a plan for how to save the country because they just watched their own government murder their own president. So fast forward now to the 2008 timeframe, and it was just after the Obama election that, of course, we know he didn't win, but there you go. And he's also not an American citizen. There you go. So we were approached, can you restore the Republic, by these White Hats? And they had already recruited Trump in the mid 1980s to be the president in the future. And of course, we know that was the 2015-16, when they told him, hey, it's time. In the meantime, we reestablished the Republic. So we did our research, figured out how to do it, and did a grassroots approach from the people to the counties, counties to the states, and then states had a constitutional convention or continental congress, or however you want to call it, in Utah in November of 2010. And we did the paperwork unanimously, imagine that, of restoring the Republic. And so we've been in existence ever since. We had our 15th anniversary back in November of 2025. So that's what we are about. Our whole mission, as we were told by the White Hats, was to be the authentic republic for the country when the corporation that's currently pretending to be our government, I call it the corporate crime syndicate or the mafia, is removed by the good guy White Hat military. And so we are currently holding these positions in an interim temporary basis. Our number one mission is to hold elections as soon as we are restored to the Republic. And that set of individuals will then have the enormous task of actually helping to bring the country back. And it's going to take decades, if not generations, to undo all the damage. And that's what we're about. So we all step down and we can't wait. So that's the basics about this republic. Now, updates. So I've been telling you a couple of times now that every once in a while a state will pop up that either accidentally followed this, we called it the splinter group, the group that broke off from us a little less than a year ago. Infiltration by the three letters. We now have confirmation that that's actually what happened. And not enough maybe for a court of law, but enough for us to know what happened. And so that group that broke off from us, instead of calling them traitors, we just call them splinter group because it's a little bit nicer way of saying it. So a lot of these counties didn't know any better, and they just followed these people that were already in the Republic and became the splinter group. And then they went off on their, followed these other people. And then their discernment finally kicks in and they go, wait a minute, where's Sandy? Where's President Geiger? Where's everybody else? And they realized that they had followed the wrong group. So now, again, we have another state of counties that wants to return to the Republic. And so we talk them through the process. You got to vote it in. It's a ballot. It's an election. We the people at the county level, and they figure it out. So we're helping them with that right now in 2 states. We've also got folks that once they realized that some of the previous leadership that has broken off and gone to the splinter group has left, they are now coming back because they were turned off by those particular individuals. And so now they're coming back to the Republic. So lots of good news on those 2 horizons. We do have more folks that continue to come in. It's a slow, and it's a good process, for 10s, 20s, 50s, kind of thing coming in. And it's manageable, as opposed to 1,000 in a day or whatever. So that's where we're at. I think we only have 8 states right now with 0 representation after we had lost about maybe 15 of them in the infiltration a year ago. So if you're in Missouri, Maine, Virginia, see if I can think of some of the other states, South Carolina.
Mhm.
We got 1 new one in Florida. We still need a lot of people in Florida. We have
Mm.
1 new person in California. We need a lot of people in California.
Oh, yeah. What
Or
about Rhode Island?
Rhode Island's pretty solid.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'd think that the Northeast states would have the most issues. Maine, that's one that's currently unrepresented. But we have people in New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Delaware. Of course, they struggle to find enough patriots. All the states need people. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you which ones need the most people.
sure.
Those are kind of the ones that are in the Montana, another one that needs quite a bit of help, which is weird. You would think, because of the
Yeah,
the
conservative nature. Yeah,
pretty red state,
yeah,
in general, but somehow our word is not getting out to them. So, but yeah, it's a good news update for us in general. We deal with the occasional um, infiltrator. I can't think of a better word that is still left over from a year ago. And yeah, I've got a prayer. I think I've shared that with you before. God, we know we have evil people amongst us. Please make them do stupid stuff so we could recognize them and remove them. Amen. Not like I say that every day or anything and have it memorized word for word, but I would appreciate it if all your little viewers and everyone and your friends and family would have that same prayer. It does come true every day, by the way, here in the Republic.
yeah.
So apparently I latched onto the right prayer, or we've got enough people saying it that we're getting enough attention. So that's the basic update for us.
Great. Well, kudos. You're doing great work. And, I always knew you were the real deal, Sandy, from the time our friend Kim, mutual friend Kim, put us together years ago. I already discerned. And the big part of this, as you know, in life is discernment, especially our faith walk. So I already knew from the beginning you were the real deal. And time always, the truth always comes out. The wheat from the tares always separate. And those who had unfortunate and not wise comments to make about you not being the real deal are now face planting because when you stand in the truth, it always comes out. So kudos to you for all of your efforts and those who are jumping on board. It is, and I think that's probably the best way to go, the slow and steady process, 50 here, 100 there, because it starts to add up, right? And I think at some point you're going to have the good problem of having, 500, 1,000 people.
Well, now that you've said that, we were approaching the 15,000. Oh, it's not coming up. Hold on a minute. I thought I had it in speed dial. I was going to check and see if we had just passed the 15,000 mark.
No
Because I
problem.
know that we were really close. And I would love to, because I don't know for sure. We are so close that, okay, I apparently have never logged in on this computer on that website, so I don't have it saved in my thingy.
No worries.
Hold on, almost there,
Sure.
almost there, almost there. And the drum roll is, oh man, we're 10 short. Okay, so we're really close to having that 15,000 mark.
Great. Well, congratulations. And thank you for you and the team, the initial team and the newbie team for all their hard work. And I always am happy when my team shows me some of the comments on Rumble or whatnot about, hey, I want to join, or I know, it's great. It's, it's building, and that's the key, and it'll accelerate. So congratulations. So with that framework being established, as we customarily do, now I'll turn it over to you before I show you my stuff, because I want to get your opinion on all that. On the geopolitical front of what's going on that you see, what is the most glaring things that you see that give you encouragement about how we're starting this new year?
So we kind of knew that, well, let's just say that I had some insider info that Venezuela was going to kick off at least a month and a half, if not 2 months prior to it actually happening. And of course, you, as a good military officer, you never give out information that could be used by the enemy. And so you never heard that from me, except maybe in passing. And so now we've seen the attack, I would you say, is on Venezuela, but essentially it was a very covert, very surprise attack to capture an international war criminal. Now, did we have UN sanction? I don't know. Did we have the authorization, the jurisdiction? I don't know. But he's standing trial in New York. What else is in New York? Oh, the United Nations. So why pick that,
Who knew?
Who knew? So I think there's something lawful going on there. It's not just for show or whatever. Of course, you see the intensely stupid stuff going on in Denver, where you have the folks stop the attacks on Venezuela. And then you switch over to the actual videos of Venezuela. And they're partying in the streets because Maduro's been removed. It's like, yay, It's Happy New Year for Venezuela.
Yeah.
And so it's like Denver is telling Venezuelan people, you're crazy for wanting to get rid of the dictator that was the, massive drug lord of the entire region. I guess they like drug lords in Denver. Just saying.
And pedophilia too. Oops.
Oh yeah, and there's all that.
Sorry about that. Oops.
I know. Yep. Oops.
Under the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just real quick, Cindy, if I may, before you continue, just to add to what you're saying. So I was, as you know, with family, it's customary on my mom's side in South Florida every year. And that part to me of South Florida, no disrespect, because I love Florida, but to me, it's like a flatter, more humid version of California. That particular Broward County, I call it Coward County. Actually, yep. I met a guy when I was. It's not about me. I'm just making a point. When I was there getting food for mom at the local Publix there, a guy approached me who actually knew our channel. Shout out to Kenneth if he's watching. So that was surprised the heck out of me. Very honored that's
never happened to me, by the way, yet.
I'm surprised.
I keep one. Well, I don't exactly live in like a booming metropolis. So anyways, continue with your story.
No, you're in sort of God's pasture. So that's true. But anyway, it wasn't about me so much as about him being effectuated in a good way by the work that we as a team do, which you're a part of. That was the most satisfying part. But what I thought was interesting is two things to your point. Number one, he said Broward County is the most human trafficked area or county in the country, which somewhat surprised me and somewhat didn't, because when you go to the Fort Lauderdale airport, they're always human trafficking. Like, if you're not doing anything, why even talk about it? That's kind of a red flag to me as a self-discerning, aware person like yourself. But number two, I left to come back here on Sunday, and I got a call from one of our team members at 2 a.m. that Maduro was, like you said, was captured. And I think it was done a while ago, but we're saying for optics. Right. It's interesting because I was in South Florida, very close to Miami, where a lot of Venezuelans, natives live to escape, Cubans, and they were dancing in the streets doing conga line, da 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 da, boom, that whole thing, and they were really into it. So the natives will tell you everything you need to know away from the fake news.
Mm-hmm. So I think that in a lot of ways, Venezuela was practice for what's going to happen here in this country. I'll let that sink in for a second. Because the military went to a location and captured criminals and put them on trial immediately. That sounds familiar, like the thing we're all expecting is going to happen.
Well, Gitmo. Yep.
And I could get a la Gitmo. Uh-huh. And so I think we've talked about this before, but a good friend of mine, his son is stationed at Gitmo.
Mm.
And that son said, I can't tell you anything because we're all under an NDA. I'm sorry, but I never signed a single NDA in my entire career in the military. It's called a security clearance. And it's like, were they making a point that thou shalt not talk about anything you see going on here? Oh, by the way, but you can talk about, or you probably would let slip that the prison is full and they have to have extra prison ships out in the bay. That you can see with your own eyes. So that's not a secret. What are they doing? And why would they need so many ships and so many cells? And so things that make you go,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Anyway, but that's about all we can really know what's going on there. Of course, we see the clickbait stuff that says that all these trials of all these high profile people have already occurred and the executions and they sobbed like babies and whatever else. It's like, I'm
Right.
sorry, but that is not going to sneak out. That is not going to sneak out.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Venezuela was, in a lot of ways, let's see how the American people and the world reacts
Mhm.
to us doing this. And it's time.
It was a case study. You're absolutely right. And Sandy, this is just for our wonderfully interactive discussion we also had. It's a lasagna of layers, right? Because it isn't just taking out Maduro. It's what's behind it. It's fentanyl,
Right.
human trafficking, the Monroe Doctrine. You're expertly known about that. I'm trying to think what else. Gosh, so many things.
Well, the drug trafficking,
Drug trafficking.
the sex trafficking,
Yeah.
the
Fentanyl.
voter, the election interference.
The Dominion machines. That's what I was trying to
That's
say.
the
Thank you.
big one. And so now it's kind of like a baby pool. Everyone's going, so what's the next country we're going to do?
Uh-huh.
So let's all take bets.
And when he brings in either Marina Corina Machado or Humberto Gonzalez, they nationalize the country. What's that do for their Bolivar currency?
That's right.
Remember,
And
yeah.
they're talking about an RV for
Yes.
Venezuelan currency.
Uh-huh. And he said Cuba will be next. Do you think it's going to stop there? Of course not.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Remember World War II? And they put MacArthur, no, sorry, the other guy, Patton. But Patton in the UK with fake military, fake army, and said, we're preparing for invasion, so that all the eyes of the spies would be on the communications of Patton, because they knew Patton would be in charge of that, right, operation. Wasn't. Day happened somewhere else and with other communications and other things. Operation Overlord. So by saying Cuba is next, is Cuba next? I would say no. I would say that's to get these other people.
Misdirect.
Oh, okay, Cuba's next. I can relax. But really, they have no idea who's next. And it could be Mexico. It could be Canada.
Or Greenland.
Well, Greenland's really not going to say anything about defense. I mean, there's really nothing there. So
that's true.
They do have some, but it's not like or Iran. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Serbia. See, I'm thinking, are they going to take it to Europe? Are they going to go to Serbia? Because that was one of the major election fraud locations. What was the other one? Ukraine. Would Putin have allowed Trump to go into Ukraine and do what he just did to Maduro? So
Sandy,
did they have like a little agreement that said, Putin, you take care of Ukraine and we'll do the other ones? Maybe.
bricks, bricks,
And
working the
of course,
team.
BRICS.
So you said a lot of valuable things, but I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry. I just get
Oh no,
excited.
that's all I had.
I get excited when we talk, just because the juices start to go, and then the audience knows that. So let's back up a second. You said something amongst many important things. Let's go back. Iran, because that's a perfect segue for the RV
Right,
discussion, and
right.
it's authentic. You just had, and I'm sure you know, Dr. Steve Turley puts out some good work. He mentioned a couple days ago that the mullahs, one of the most corrupt factions within Iran, who's been sanctioned, holding down Iraq and the Green Zone in Parliament, our audience knows well, yours as well, are on the run to Russia. Why would they be on the run to Russia? BRICS, because Iran's part of BRICS, but they're
Right.
not telling people that necessarily. What's that do for Iraq? Breaks up the congestion and corruption within Iraq. So it's like, look here, not here. You saw what he did in September, meeting with the Middle East as he's dissecting sections of the world, like you said.
Right.
So the Iranian rial or Toman outside the country, depending on your vantage point,
Mhm.
which is heavily sanctioned by the U.S. up to this point for negotiation purposes, as you know, their currency is down almost 50%. And they got 10 days straight of protesting in the streets. This looks a lot to me like Kim Clement when things seem at their worst. Wars, threats of wars, distractions, to your point, look here, not there. What do you say?
Well, it's entirely possible. These are all options, right? Because I'm not an insider, you're not an insider. We have people that we can kind of talk to about these kind of things, but with the understanding that we can't talk about it after that. It makes sense, right? Because we don't want to get people killed. So I don't know anything else other than, like I said, I knew about Venezuela, like I said, about 2 months in advance. Um, I didn't know exactly what they were planning, but obviously you could see something with the buildup on the shores and the islands and whatever, just outside, of the international waters. So yeah. But to go back to the thing you said about the RV, that's going to have a domino ripple effect because okay, now you do Venezuela. Well, that's not an island. Venezuela
Mm-hmm.
is hooked into all these places, especially in the oil market.
Good point.
So what are going to be the ripples? And are they going to grow into tidal waves and take out something we don't even foresee because we're not thinking like that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what about the stock market? What's going to
Mm.
happen? What about the dollar? Are we going to see even worse inflation here?
Yeah.
Um, they're just going to keep, cranking that printing money machine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's
Get
going to
out of
have ripple
existence.
effects. Yeah.
I told
So
you.
what's the best thing to do? Don't be in the dollar. That's pretty much it.
Yep. Any
And I was,
suggestions on that, Sandy, since you deal with a lot of different people in
well,
your.
it's the same stuff we've talked about before, and I'm sure you've talked about a zillion times, and that is have something tangible in your hand, something that it's not um, a promise of something. It's an actual something, like the precious metals, silver, gold. And of course, that's going nuts, right? Silver and gold, both, but silver particularly because it has the industrial um, commercial use as well. Um, it's it's just not land. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
other thing. And then if you have a farm, it might be time to buy that new tractor because that's something tangible that's useful, right? It's going to do something for you. Um, not your jet skis, not your, RVs, not the other RV, recreation
Right. Right.
vehicle.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's, like for people on Social Security, uh, we're looking at like 40% inflation, people. I know they're saying, oh, we kept inflation down to 5% or 8%. It's like, no, it's like 40 or 50%. You all know, you go to the grocery store. And so if you're not taking out the maximum amount of Social Security right now, you're doing it wrong. Not only that, but you're going to help bring down the corrupt corporation that's
Thank
been
you.
stealing the Social Security this whole time.
Yep.
And so if we all maxed out our Social Security dividends, our pull, we're going to help to bring down the corruption even sooner because the military is waiting for us, folks. They're
Mhm.
watching the American people. They're watching this republic for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And they're seeing that we have 8 states with no representation. As soon as we have all 50 back again, look out.
Mm,
Just saying.
it's a great point.
We're
Just
close.
to just to back up a couple of things you're saying, Sandy, with some interesting, what we always do, informational tidbits. So
Mhm.
inflation is transitory, which means it never goes away, and it's a hidden tax. A good example would be, and a good analogy would be, if you were working out, going to the gym, then you go on the holidays and put on weight. So you put, as an example, 10 pounds, whatever it is, whatever.
Ouch.
Yeah, well, what if it happens? It's
It
every year
happens.
we go through this almost every year to this point.
Yep.
Now it's going to change, but I'm just making a point. Like if you if you were 6 feet tall and you were, I don't know, whatever, 190 pounds, and you kept that for a while, but then you started putting on weight and you put on 50 pounds and you take off 10, that doesn't negate the fact that you still gained 40 pounds. Just because you lost 10 didn't mean that you didn't still gain weight. Same
Right.
thing with inflation with the dollar.
Mhm.
You may take the top part down, but you still have the weight behind it. It's an inflation. A hidden tax.
Mhm.
Number one. Number two, they're going to print the old Fed off the cliff. Sun Tzu. Why interfere with an enemy who's in the process of destroying themselves? And I think this guy they're going to bring in, Kevin Warsh, as the Fed, is just a temporary guy to lower the rates, to print, to be pro crypto, particularly for the Trump coins, and then let the system crash off the cliff and bring in the new systems, a segue, right? Now, you were talking about, I'm sorry, I apologize. I have a little bit of a sinus infection from the weather. So I apologize, folks. Bear with me on that. Give me a little grace there. Um, Energy is the key for a couple of things. It's the only way he can counteract the inflation by, you know, drilling like crazy. Texas, Louisiana have a ton of oil. You know that all too well, being there in the heart of Texas. Shout out to Texas in general. I have a lot of good friends and family there. Particularly crude oil is the most sophisticated and expensive to produce. I was looking into it. They have to use techniques like steam injection to get it. It's dangerous, it's expensive, it's risky, it's intensive, equipment laden, et cetera. You mentioned Venezuela. They produce about 330 billion barrels of oil. And I think the entire country uses, excuse me, the entire world uses around 100 to 105 billion barrels a day or something like that. So he's got to be able to keep up with it. So you pull from Venezuela, previously the fourth largest economy in the world. You heard him say two things on Saturday. I heard takeaway number one, they were the fourth largest economy. I'm going to help them establish that. How are you going to do that? RV and sovereignty,
Right.
and
Freedom.
huh?
And freedom.
And freedom, right? Nationalization, right?
Right.
Through proper leadership that he will pick. He
And
also said,
we
go
may
ahead.
see the formation of the first international republic because
Well,
that's
that's interesting.
actually going to happen.
Well, that's interesting. Let's talk about that before I go back to our other
Okay.
point. So America, being in the military, the US and Iraq copy each other. What does Iraq call themselves? The Republic of Iraq.
Mhm.
Victory Day, July 4th, 250th anniversary. Are we going to become the Republic of the US or Republic of America? Most likely, I think so. Get your opinion on that in a moment. So back to Venezuela. So he can pull from the barrels of oil, plus our fracking and drilling here in the US, plus other countries, Canada, starts pulling from all these areas. What's that do? The cost of energy brings it way, way, way down. So you have two fronts moving. You have accelerated inflation counteracted with energy to bring the gas, diesel, food, et cetera, down to mitigate it while he brings in the new system and nationalizes all those things. But he also said on Saturday, did you catch the press conference? He said, and we have a lot of native Venezuelans that live here in America, Florida, et cetera,
Right.
that want to go back. That was a
Now that
Jasara.
it's free. Uh-huh.
That's a Jasara where I come from. So
There is.
what say you?
Oh, I'm on board with everything you said. I do want to
Cool.
throw in one extra tidbit, and if you do
Please.
the day of the year calculator, what day of the year is January 7th?
Mm-hmm.
It's the seventh day of the year, right? And what about February 7th? Sorry, you can do this. So if you check that, and the next election day is scheduled for November 3rd, and if you do that day of the year calculator, that and July 4th, it's 122 days between the two. Why
Interesting.
is 120 days so significant?
Jasara. Jasara.
NESARA in particular, because that's the national version,
Yeah.
American version, which is that a new election will be held within 120 days of the restoration of the republic.
So if I'm following, a good point. If I'm following you, would that mean sometime in May before Mother's Day? And two, would that mean we're not going to have midterms?
I think a possibility, I don't have any insider info on this. This is just one of those discernment things that God just kind of drops on you and you have to process. And that is to calculate that number. And of course, then I found out it was 122 days. So I don't see any significant dates between now and July 4th where the republic would be restored earlier. Could it? Yes, but I don't see anything. The other thing is now we've had a year of milestones and we see a pace, right, of what's happening. Now it's picked up a bit in December and January. And it just depends on now when they reset to go after whatever the next country is. Like I said, it could be anybody, but it's probably going to be related to the election interference and fraud. And that's who they're going to go after. So if we see this pace picking up, at the current pace, I don't see it happening any earlier than July 4th because I don't know how to take down the FBI and the IRS and the CIA. I don't. Okay.
I love
That
those
would be
terms.
one of my jobs, as the Secretary of State for the Republic, would be to help clean that up. So we're relying upon Trump and Trump's team and the White Hats and everyone that's associated with them to do that for us because it's way easier for them to do it from the inside than for us to be planted in there and then to try to figure it out. So he is essentially doing what the letter we sent him that said, this is what we would do if we were in charge.
Right.
And he's going through them one at a time. Check, check, check. We're like, okay, he got it. We know he got it because he's following it.
Yeah.
And so while attacking Venezuela was not on the list, cleaning up the elections and stopping the child sex trafficking and stopping the drug trafficking are on the list. So I think we're not progressed enough on that list to be stood up anytime earlier than July 4th. This is just my current assessment, which could change tomorrow.
That's fine.
And if it happens July 4th, then is the NESARA 120 day thing an absolute, or is 122 days okay? Or would they set us up 2 days after the 4th of July so that it's exactly 120? I don't know.
Yeah.
But these are all the things that I'm thinking about. And then how do I focus the people of the Republic? I mean, of course, we're doing our 4 main tasks, fill the state positions that are required, governor, secretary of state, House, Senate, get the counties restored so that we have county assemblies. And that's easy. We have a process that's like a checklist. You can just follow through. You just need a couple of people dedicated enough to do it. Get the counties restored in all of the states. That's 3,143, I believe, parishes, boroughs, and the rest. Mm-hmm. And that's where the people that are listening to this could do the most good. Just contact us and we'll give you the checklist and let you do it. Get the state assemblies back up to speed and get a new state constitution ready for ratification by the people, because we have to take out all the corporate garbage that's got put in there over the time. So in going back to basics, what was it in 1860 before the Civil War? What was it originally when you became a state? Those were the best, cleanest constitutions ever. And with a couple of changes, right? Taking slavery out and, a couple other things like that. That's where our focus needs to be. So if we can just do those things, and on our side, this is our
Hmm.
part of the deal, contract, whatever you want to say, while Trump and his team are doing their part, which is to take down all these corrupt agencies. And he's done an awesome job in the first year of taking down so much, but there's still a lot left. So that's why I don't think we're going to do it any earlier than the 4th of July. And how symbolic would that be to restore our republic right around Independence Day?
Yeah, Victory Day. So
Yeah, it's kind of, it'll become a new, it'll become Republic Day, or whatever.
Republic Day, yeah. And no, I think you're right. I mean, at least we have a back wall. We have a 6 month back wall that we can point to definitively. And anything that happens sooner, as far as that's concerned, is a bonus.
Right.
One thing we know with President Trump, he's got a secret plan, and it's got to be that way, clandestine, to keep keep your friends close, your enemies closer. Military art of war, blah, blah, blah. And things are changing so much from day to day, as you said, that there's just so many variables to consider. So it's like
That's why AI, I'm pretty sure there's an AI helping them out. There's
of
got to be
course,
a very sophisticated AI.
yeah, they've got an algorithm that they use. I have a military contact through Walter Reed we've talked about with regard to the med beds, who's confirmed that they use an algorithm that kind of tells them, okay, this is the time to do it. This is the time to wait. This is the time to, a punch list, like you said earlier, or check. So no, the veracity of what you said is definitely confirmed as far as that. Real quick, if you don't mind, let me just run through a couple of things. I want to get your temperature on this, Sandy, as I run through some of the financial stuff, just to save time, because with the military background, you would know this better than most. Hence, one of the many reasons you're here. So this is interesting. This just came up today. Iraq implements mandatory advanced duty for dollar access. Kurdistan ports face blockage risk. So in layman's terms, they're outlawing the dollar, the CBI, Central Bank of Iraq. And I think we're going to be getting rid of the private Western Central Bank. Trump will be the third president in history, as you know, to do it. Andrew Jackson, if you remember his first term, he had him over his left shoulder because he was the second president in history under the Republic to do so at great peril. And same with President Trump. I think 16 assassination attempts, and hopefully that's it. And we just continue to plead the blood of Yeshua over him every single day to rebuke that. But look at this, January 1st, sparked concerns over economic stability because they've been relying on the dollar. No mas, right? Now let's take a look at this. This isn't, I don't know if you saw this or not, so maybe you can confirm it. U.S. Army Delta Force units have reportedly been deployed to Iraq's borders amid rising tensions. As we talked about, Iran's backed militias, the mullahs, for example, refused disarmament. So we have a Mexican standoff going. Have you heard about that?
Just bits and pieces. I hadn't seen this particular article.
Okay, but that jives with what you discernmentally know to be true?
I know there's unrest in the area. I don't know what the response has been. That's basically what I've seen.
Okay, fair enough. So then we look at this article here. This is Prime Minister Soudani, current Prime Minister, the fourth one, the nothing, something, Kim Clement's prophecy, is talking about the ongoing stability, challenges. We already know, we've just discussed that. Here's an interesting point. We're talking about energy. So we talked about Venezuela. You can't leave out Iraq because everybody knows they got copious amounts of oil, so much so that they're one of the fourth largest countries in oil reserve, just behind Saudi Arabia, right? But what most people did not know, and they now know, hopefully, is that the dinar Iraq is stupid laden with, mineral rights, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, gold. I had a military friend who, when Hussein was alive, he gave him a gold bar right out of his bathroom, quite literally. And, here, take this home as a souvenir. I mean, they're tripping over it there. The PIR Phoenix, a guy I used to subscribe to, as a retired Army Ranger, used to talk about, they have grates in the sand near the city lines where basically they hire American contractors over there to, drill for water exports, and in doing so, through the sand comes bits of gold flecks, and they would let them keep whatever gold they found as compensation for drilling for water. Kind of brilliant, but it tells you how much they have in terms of gold and other things, diamonds, etc. But why couldn't we use oil for cash? We've done it in the past under the cabal, and even oil for XRP. Just a thought there to expand the boundaries of thinking. Excuse me. So you put in Venezuela in the mix, you might as well throw Iraq into the mix. Okay. And then we turn our attention real quick to Vietnam. They also have tremendous amounts, as you know, of Brent crude oil in their oceans. China was trying to get at it. Trump and Pompeo in 2020, August, as you know, did the Indo-Asia Pacific Initiative, where they poured $1 trillion of Federal Reserve crap money to drain out of the system to get leverage in Vietnam. Why? Because they've got tons of silver, great workforce, manpower, Brent crude, gold, many other things in a clandestine fashion they don't talk about. To me, they would be the best poker players in history because they never show their hand. Having dealt with the Vietnamese businessman, I can attest to that in the past. But here's
And
go
they
ahead.
have the dong, which is waiting for RV.
Exactly. That's why you're right. That's why I bring that up. So you got Dinar, you got Dong, you got the Bolivar with Venezuela. And if you think that decorruption is just going to stop, as you said, as a domino effect in the Middle East or Southeast Asia or Central America, for that matter, you're sorely mistaken. It's going to find its way to Zimbabwe, the one of the richest nations in the world, where Nelson Chamisa is just waiting in the wings, and we know this. So you're absolutely right. But Vietnam's GDP, Sandy, at the end of 2025 hit 8.02%. That exceeded any other Asian nation, which averaged between 2 and 5% by a third. That's pretty significant. And it bodes extremely well for their country, their workforce, and the viability, as you rightly pointed out a moment ago, vis-a-vis the dong. So I thought that was good summation. So with that, I would like to get your impressions.
Well, you pretty much summarized it right there. So I don't know that I have more to add other than there are significant things going on all over the world, especially with the countries that are waiting for the biggest RVs, right? I think all countries have to go through an RV, but there's like the top five or whatever, and we
Correct.
just talked about them.
Mm-hmm.
So um, and it depends. I don't know if you want to say it's too late to try to buy some of that currency and hope that you can get in on the RV. It would be, of course, level 4 or 5,
Right.
or tier 4 or 5 at that point. But
Mm-hmm.
um, the other significant thing to realize is that, and you may have talked about this before, but something called heritage funds, heritage trusts. So these
Mm-hmm.
are the Solomon Trust, the Chinese Elders Trust, and many others.
Saint Germain's.
Saint Germain's, that's right. So you guys have talked about
Excuse
it
me.
before. Um, there is so much wealth in each of these trusts, we can't wrap our brains around them. In one trust that I know the number for, because I know someone on the inside who's helping to manage it. I think folks, and maybe they don't, how to do powers of 10. So if you were to write the number 1,000, 1 with 3 zeros. So if in shortcut notation, when you have really big numbers, you put a 10 and a little 3 above it. So it's like 10 to the third power. Okay. And that means a 1 with 3 zeros. That is a representation for 1,000. A million has 6 zeros, so it'd be 10 to the sixth. A billion has 9 zeros, so it'd be 10 to the ninth. You guys get the picture. Just one of these heritage trusts that my insider friend talks about is 10 to the 135th power. There's no word for that. How many times? And so trillion is 12, quadrillion is 15.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally like quadrillion, 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 quadrillion. It's
Well, it's like a Google number, right? Like
like
120 or
9
something.
quadrillions, a quadrillion, quadrillion, quadrillion. It's like you can't, there's no number like that.
Yeah.
And that is
Wow.
so much that once the cabal is removed, once all the corporations are removed from all the countries, this is not just an American problem. Every country is cabal controlled and owned. The banksters have done this to everybody. So as soon as they're gone, these trusts can be lawfully opened to rebuild the world. There will be no shortage of funds for anyone with a legitimate humanitarian project. Med beds, bridges, roads, housing, water,
Sex trafficking recovery.
agriculture,
Yeah.
sex trafficking recovery, drug
Mhm.
recovery, etc. Okay. You have a legitimate project with legitimate paperwork and you can prove that you're going to do what you say, you can get whatever funding you need. Now, that's a little ways down the road because we all know it's going to take a while to clean up all these evil ones because they're pretty clever. They've had to be that way to be here since Babylonian times. So that's the future where does it really matter if you have a million, billion, or quadrillion in your banking account? Because as long as you have the proper humanitarian mindset to help people and not to just, miser it all to yourself, we are going to have a very happy world and a very bountiful world. But there's a lot of things that have to happen between now and then. Probably the second coming, I would imagine, because I can't imagine that we humans are going to be able to figure out where all the evil ones are.
Well, absolutely. But the thing of it is, Sandy, is that this wealth transfer, if you go biblically, opens up the third seal of prosperity for the harvest of souls prior to the second coming. I think that's why God is allowing it to set his people free, as Kim Clement said. And what you're talking about is mindset. How many times have I drilled this into my audience about it starts up here, right?
Right.
If we can agree that Sun Tzu talked about the battle is here, is won before it goes there,
Mhm.
it's no different with spiritual warfare, Ephesians 6:12. Your mindset is going to dictate. I understand people are struggling. I get all that. That's legit. At the same time, there's still things you can do. It starts with the mindset. If you can contend for abundance in lieu of lack, if you could be grateful even in a unfair, oppressed situation,
Mhm.
and still approach it with a positive mindset, and people do it all the time, that sets you up to win before the win, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, and then we're
That
just
is a
trying to
lot
bridge
of
the gap.
that is a
Right.
lot of deprogramming that's going on right now in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
I was deprogrammed from where I was, but that was basically, when I was at the academy and got fired for following the Constitution. Go figure. Um, I had to, well, God was essentially changing my direction. He says, okay, you've done what I wanted you to do and protect the students and the cadets at the academy, but now I need you for a different job. And that's where he brought me to the Republic. And so now we're talking financial stuff, right? And you and I took care of ourselves long ago. And maybe people don't realize that, a 401k or an IRA, it doesn't have to be what they tell you it is. There are companies out there that will help you get to remove that stuff from those very dangerous entities right now in this very unsure world and put you into like a self-directed IRA where you can buy the shiny metal objects, the gold, the silver, whatever else. Remember, something tangible in your hand or in your vault, if you're going to store it in a vault, like I think you and I are probably doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you even have a company that you rely upon to do that with your audience. So, I'm sorry, what's the name of it? I've forgotten.
Noble Gold. Noble Gold.
Noble
Yep.
Gold, that's right.
Yep. X22
Um,
works with them as well. Yep.
right. And they can help get your 401k and your IRA out of the corrupt system
Right.
and into something a lot safer. Definitely not dollars,
No.
And if you're above 59 and a half, you've got a lot more leeway to do
Mm-hmm.
stuff with that. But even if you're below that, you still have options.
For sure.
So people just need to make that phone call, I think, and listen and follow your God's discernment. What is God telling you is the right thing to do?
Exactly.
It's not just sit back and watch and wait, guys, or I'm trapped and I can't get out. You just have to listen to people like Jon or I, and you have to know that there are options.
Mhm.
Don't listen to the ones that, oh, there's nothing you can take for a convid. And then you find out, well, there's ivermectin and there's hydroxychloroquine and there's quercetin and zinc and there's vitamin C and vitamin D. And really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you just got to get hooked into the truthful information, use a discernment to figure that out. So I'm off my soapbox now.
No, I love it. Well, that's actually a perfect segue for the end. So, as always, Sandy, we love having you. We appreciate you every single month. I know our audience does, yours does. It's a beautiful synergy. So, with that in mind, last thoughts you have for the audience, and where can people find your work, please?
So our website to sign up to register, sorry, they're all legal terms. We really don't have a good word for that, is www.republicforusa.org. Republic, FORUSA.org. That will take you to our members website. There's a button says register. I'm sorry, we don't have a better word. And you become a member. You're essentially promising to be an elector as soon as this republic is restored. And like I just said, we're 10 away from being at 15,000. That's a major milestone for us. And it would just be awesome if we could get there. The biggest thing is there's a lot of little things that everyone can do. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be president of the republic or secretary of state of the republic. You can pick up just your county and free the people of your county with just some simple steps that we can help you through. Once you do that, if you feel like you want to do more, we've got other positions with a little more responsibility. And we can talk about that. But that's basically it. Get off the couch, get out of that armchair and save your country. Because once we save America, we can go out and save the world. And we can help the Venezuelas and the Irans and the Iraqs and the Vietnams and the whatever
Mhm.
else that are under the thumb of these evil corporate cabalist mafia and all the other adjectives you want to use. So please come join us. And it could just be becoming number 15,000 on this list. That's as far as you want to go. And maybe some of you want to go really far after that. We welcome everyone.
Love it. So honored to be with you, Sandy, and to support the Republic, the true Republic. So we'll put that link in the description below the video, republicforusa.org. And there are still many positions, as you said earlier, in need and respective states. Surprisingly, about Maine, because that's actually one of the most conservative. Growing up in New England, that's one of the most conservative states we always knew about. So I'm a bit surprised by that, but opportunity nonetheless. And speaking of opportunity, folks, it's not too late to get involved in the global reset with respect to the currencies. And we do have a great company for that, for Dinar Dong, Zims, Thai Baht, and Bolivar. Prominent now, as Sandy mentioned earlier. We'll leave that link in the description of the video, as well as Noble Gold, one of our key sponsors for precious metals, whether you're just buying gold and silver or copper. Always important to get in copper too, because it's a backstop for when silver ends, because there is a supply issue because of manufacturing, robotics, AI, etc. Med beds. I believe med beds are about 90% silver, if I'm not mistaken. And also, if you have a 401k and IRA, just our humble opinion, not financial advisors, not giving you financial advice, but don't let it languish and atrophy, because when this market crash correction happens, pensions and 401ks, not fear-based, are at risk big time. Noble Gold is some of the most professional people I've ever dealt with. I buy metals from them. I've liquidated an IRA with them in the past. X22 has been with them for 10 years for a reason. Colin and Fernando and the entire staff do an amazing job. No pressure, very educationally based. So for those of you who obviously you're here, you like knowledge, vis-a-vis Sandy, that's what they're about. They just give you the information, they give you guidance, they answer questions, very supportive. They're not going to call you, oh, you're going to buy. None of that. It's just working with you at your direction and comfortability level. So please do check out Noble Gold. NobleGoldInvestments.com/JD Metals is my code. They'll give you the best pricing and service. Accordingly, we'll leave that link as well in the video in the description. Sandy Miarecki, Secretary of State for the Republic of the U.S., thank you for joining us once again. We appreciate you and all of your wisdom and knowledge and support. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Happy New Year, and we look forward to talking with you again shortly.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Sandy.